Hello and welcome to Our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 150.
It's moving day again today. We are checking out of our one-bedroom villa here at Kidani Village and heading over to Port Orleans Riverside with a river view room. Now, we still don't have a car. It's still sitting over at Wilderness Lodge. We did talk to the front desk and let them know that our car is there. We're not abandoning it. We are going to come back for it. We're still on property, and they understood the situation. We have talked to them quite a bit in the past anyway, so thankfully, they allowed us to leave the car there at Wilderness Lodge. We didn't have to tow it around with us to every single resort while I worked on it. So, of course, we had to Uber to the new resort, which meant only taking a couple bags with us and sending the majority of them over with Bell Services. And when we got to the resort, we waited in line at the front to check in, and a room was all ready to go for us, so we didn't have to wait, which is always so nice. You don't have to wait to get in there. We can go straight over to the room and we can take our detail pictures and our 360 pictures and do our room tour on Facebook. Hard floors and raised beds, so you do have space for storage underneath both of the beds. Plenty of storage space there, which is really helpful because these can be some kind of small rooms when you start getting luggage in here. And they also have changed a few other things about the room. They've changed out the mirrors, and the table and chairs, I believe, are a little bit different as well. At least the chairs are. And this room here has a fifth sleeper. So you do have a pull-down bed here, which is definitely not the size you want for an adult. But for a child, it is a great extra bed to have there. And if you'd like to see that entire room tour, as usual, it's linked down in the description and up there in the corner.
For lunch, we decided to head to the quick service here and see what they had. And there was something for both of us to enjoy because Robert got a pulled pork hot dog. This thing was huge. The hot dog was much bigger than the bun. Not really my thing, but he seemed to really enjoy it.
It was really good. It had pretty good pulled pork on top and some coleslaw there, give it a nice little crunch. And again, yeah, the hot dog was huge. It was like the Casey's Corner size hot dogs, almost a foot long, just ridiculously big, but it tasted really good.
And I got the prime rib dip, and this is definitely more up my alley. This was so good. They definitely soaked it long enough. There was a lot of flavor. This was a really, really nice lunch. It was nice that both of us had something we could enjoy. Then we had a Zoom call with our employees. We do this twice a week just to catch up and make sure they're not waiting on us for anything. We're not waiting on them. Anything that needs to be talked about is during this time. So we had a call with them, and then we went back to the room and just really enjoyed the view we have because it is so pretty here.
Now, the rooms here at Riverside were recently remodeled, which means they also upgraded the Wi-Fi while they were doing that. Thankfully, with the upgrade, it's actually usable. So we can stay here in the room and work, and we spent the entire afternoon working. We've got several things we're trying to get done and catch up on, and I was really happy we didn't have to go somewhere else like the food court or all the way over to Epcot to get that done.
We then went and roasted marshmallows because that's just a thing we do at every resort that we can. And there really wasn't anyone there. It was just kind of us and the cast members. So we talked to them, roasted marshmallows. We did not make s'mores today. We've actually run out of chocolate and graham crackers and didn't want to pay for the kits because they can be kind of pricey. It's much better if we can just buy them from a store or something. We just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. We then headed over to Wilderness Lodge because we had a part delivered there for our car. So we paid that $5 package fee because it is much cheaper to do that than to pay for an Uber to go out to our P.O. box and then come back. It's just a lot of work, a lot of time. So we paid that fee, went to the front desk, got the part, and we headed out to work on the car again.
Now, this was supposed to be a fairly simple part to replace. It is the cheapest option of the three things we think it might be. So I'm kind of hoping this one actually does it. However, that simple to replace thing ended up taking several hours. That was not the plan. I thought, oh, I can do it right around sunset time. I'll still have daylight and it'll be cooler because the sun's going down. And it ended up being very late and dark by the time I was done. It was getting closer to 9 o'clock by the time I finally finished. And of course, it was completely dark outside. Thankfully, they do have the lights out there in the parking lot that help light things up a little bit. I got the part completely installed, fixed everything there, started up the car, and it still wouldn't quite start. So cheaper solution has now been eliminated as the option, and the next step up is the next most expensive solution that I have to once again order a part for and wait for it to come in.
While Robert was working on the car, since I'm really no help whatsoever, I was just kind of exploring the resort and I came across Territory Lounge. Of course, we've seen it here at Wilderness Lodge, we just had not gone in. And so I asked for a menu, what they served, because I actually thought they only served drinks here. Like, no, we do have some food items. And so I checked that out. I thought, that sounds really good. So when he was done working on the car, I mentioned it to him. He goes, I am starving. Let's go. I need food. So we headed over there, and they have some amazing details here in Territory Lounge. If you ever get the chance to check them out, on the ceiling, there's an entire map, and there's lots of things to look at, lots of things to read in here. It's almost like its own museum, which is really cool.
And yeah, it's a cool lounge, but the food is also really good. And I thought Geyser Point was, amazing, and it is, but we have two amazing lounges apparently here at Wilderness Lodge. Territory Lounge's food was so good. We asked the server for recommendations and kind of went with whatever she recommended. We got the trio of sliders that one of them was pulled pork, one was brisket, and the other was sausage, and they were so good. They had just the right combination of flavors. There was enough food that we could kind of taste it and get a good feel for the food, but then also not completely weigh ourselves down with huge sandwiches. So it was a perfect portion size on those. And to drink, we did get an Odwalla lemonade because once again, Alyssa can have that all natural lemonade. So we got one of those for her. And I saw one more thing on the menu that the server had recommended that sounded really good. It was pretzel rolls with a Chardonnay cheese fondue. So this was not your typical pretzel roll and beer cheese. It's a Chardonnay cheese, so it's a little bit lighter. It's also fondue, so it's served over an open flame that keeps it hot, and it's a little more liquid than the beer cheese dip. It's kind of thicker. But oh my goodness, this flavor was amazing. This beat any pretzel and cheese I've had anywhere on property before.
And it felt really fancy when they came and brought it to the table because we've got the grapes and the bread all laid out so nicely. I mean, it's Disney, they make everything really pretty. And then they bring out the cheese and set it up. And she did make sure to tell us not to put the cheese exactly over the flame because we didn't want to put the flame out, so it just has to sit there perfectly. But this was all so good. It was such a great choice to come here. We were both so glad we did, especially if you're eating late and need somewhere to go because sometimes the restaurants aren't open as late. This is a great option to go to. Now, we did not stop with this because it was recommended that we also get dessert. And with how amazing these recommendations were, you can't say no to that.
And the dessert was a seasonal cobbler. In this case, it was a mixed berry cobbler with a black raspberry sorbet on top. Wow. This was so good. Now the cobbler, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same or just very, very similar to the cobbler up at club level here at Wilderness Lodge. They cycle out cobbler every night. They have different types of cobblers, and a few times a week they have a mixed berry cobbler up there that I absolutely love. This tasted very similar to it. It was so good, but the sorbet added a whole nother level to it. It was perfect. I am definitely gonna have to come back here and get this again because it is exactly what I wanted from club level without having to go up to club level, and they had the sorbet on top.
This really was an amazing way to end the night, especially after the car not working. This definitely lifted our spirits, completely changed the way the night was going. This was so amazing. Highly recommend Territory Lounge if you get the chance. After this, we did take an Uber back over to Port Orleans Riverside to get to our room, and that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
for our Year with the Ears.